Thank you very much, Binibining Abigail Gabine, sa napakahusay nating guro ng Shilito Zamora Senior High School. Ngayong araw na ito, ako ay nagagalak na makakasama ko kayong lahat sa mga mag-aaral ng Shilito Zamora Senior High School, teachers, at ang pinakamamahal po nating principal na walang iba kundi si Dr. Wilhelmina D. Tarnate. Isang mapagpalang araw sa atin lahat. The topic that I have to discuss is about how to prepare Chapter 1. Chapter 1 of a research paper. We have parts of Chapter 1. Introduction, background of the study, objectives of the study, statement of the problem, scope and delimitation of the study, limitations of the study, and significance of the study. First, we are going to discuss what is introduction. What is the importance of introduction to our research paper? In the introduction, it is important to give us, the researchers of the reader, a clear notion of the general scope of the problem investigated. The reader should be given enough idea about similar problems from other countries. That is what we call the mega level. Kung dito sa Pilipinas, ang tawag ay macro level, at kung halimbawa ang research ay nagaganap sa ating eskwelahan o kaya sa Caloocan, ang tawag dito ay micro level. Bilang isang writer, makakaranas po tayo ng mga difficulties na dala ng iba't ibang sanhi ng pagkaroon ng investigation sa ating research. Hence, this part of the study, the introduction, is primarily designed to meet this field need to the reader. The presentation of the investigation should be very naturally lead to the objectives of the study. So we have 4 relevant ideas. Paano nga ba makagawa ng introduction sa pamamagitan ng 4 na pinakamahalagang idea? Una, ang topic natin o kaya ang subject matter. So we are going to define, for example, if your topic is about rape or asynchronous or synchronous mode of delivery of our education. So you're going to define and elaborate using these methods of paragraph development like classification and giving examples. Second is the importance of the topic. So you are going to cite the role that the topic plays in your life and the benefits you derive from it. And number 3, reasons for choosing the topic. You are going to emphasize what are the main reasons why you choose the topic, and you are going to be motivated for the topic that you have chosen. And lastly, you have the purpose of the study. What are your purposes of the study? Why you choose that certain topic? So we're going to discuss what are the objectives of the study. So next is background of the study. Background of the study consists of statement. So pwede po siyang statement that led to the investigator to launch the study. So pwede po siyang declarative statement. Another is, you're going to generate some empirical observation. You're going to have the need to explore the problem and some other relevant conditions. So in the background of the study, you are going to describe as clearly as possible the problem intended to be addressed and refer to the relevant literature in the field. It is an overview of factors which have led to the problem, comprise of problem, and historical significance relative to the problem. So we have the objectives of the study, but actually this is optional. Then we have to say objectives of the study. You are going to have only to have the classification from the general to specific, because we are going to describe what could be your aims or goals, what are going to be expectation, and how you're going to achieve the such kind of your research. So we have the acronym, what we call the SMARTer. So you have to take or remember this one. It is very useful in remembering as follows. Letter S, simple language. We are going to use simple language. M, we are going to use measurable concept. Are they attainable? So you are going to use dot A as attainable, R result oriented, letter T time bounded, letter E you're going to have the enthusiasm, and lastly the resources. So if it is easy to find that certain resources in our local community. So the objectives of the study should not only flow from the identified study, but should lead also to the statement of the problem. We are the statement of the problem. And the problem studied must be shown as one which arose from a situation of need or of unresolved difficulties. The reader must be made to recognize this need. And the statement of the problem has the following characteristics. So you have to take note and the following characteristic. One, the problem should be stated precisely, accurately, and clearly. It can be stated either in the declaration or interrogation. So you can have the declarative statement, and the other one is the interrogative form. It could be either one main statement, a question, or a series of statements or a question, or a combination of this form. And lastly, the problem should be defined in terms of the data that can be attained. So we have the scope and delimitation. The scope and delimitation should include the following: a brief statement of the general purpose of the study, the subject matter and topics studied and discussed, the local of the study where the data were gathered or the entity to which the data belong. So we have the population, known as the respondent. Take note on your respondent. So you're going to have this, for example, from the generalization, or rather the from generalization to specific. So the period of the study is very important. So you get the time, you get the months or the years where you're going to gather your data. Next is the limitations of the study. We are going to include the weaknesses of the study that is beyond the control of the researcher. So the weaknesses spring out of the inaccuracies of the perception of the respondent. And we have the significance of the study, the rationale, and the timeliness and or relevance of the study. The rationale, the timeliness, and or relevance of the study to existing condition must be explained or discussed. So take note that you are going to explain it very well or discuss it very well. You could have the possible solution to existing problems or improvement to unsatisfactory condition. And the other one, your study, you're going to ask who are going to benefit with this research of us. How? And they are going to be benefited with your research. It must be shown who are the individuals. For example, the students. If I am one of the researcher groups, maybe, for example, the church or a certain kinds of our society or the communities that we have. So we may be placed in more advantageous position on account of the study. And lastly, the possible contribution to the fund of the knowledge. So you have to take note the possible implication. It should be discussed here that the implications include the possible causes of the problems discovered, so the possible effects of the problems, and the remedial measures to solve the problems. Muli, isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat. At laging tandaan na ang chapter 1 ay ginagamitan ng present tense and present perfect. O, ito po ay isang mahalagang paalaala sa atin mga taga-Silesians na ang tinatawag na significance. Mahalaga ang bawat parts ng chapter 1 sa ating resource. With that, thank you very much for listening. God bless to all.